So welcome back to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. Today we have Amy Triplett. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to chat with you. Obviously, we had a great conversation, leading up to this, and your business, Om Meditation and Wellness. I guess let's start there. And what is that? And kind of how did you get into that?
Yeah, so Om Meditation and Wellness is one of those blessings I didn't even see coming. It's not something that I had a massive dream for. It was an evolution that I think has really been quite beautiful. I started my journey, my professional journey as a special ed teacher. I taught behavior disorders and learning disabilities in various places in Pinellas County and in the South Bronx and Orlando. Took time off to have my kids. I have 4 kids. And went back to school for counseling, and that worked out great. I love counseling, love the intensiveness of it, the deep dives you get to do with individuals. And in amongst that process, I became a hypnotherapist. And that kind of shifted from, I love all the cognitive behavioral techniques and counseling, but hypnotherapy was different because that's working kind of on the light side. Yes, you can deal with deep trauma and stuff, but it just was a different part of working with the mind, the conscious and the subconscious. And so I was doing that for a while, went out on my own, had my own practice, and would do workshops on a grander scale with yoga and hypnotherapy to do group sessions. And so then my curiosity kind of grew even more with, oh, I can do this not just intensively one-on-one, but with more people and get to share more knowledge with people about how to take your mind to the light side, like really learning how to utilize the power of your mind to the positive direction, not just combating negative symptoms, which is also important.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for both, but I feel like oftentimes that positive space gets missed, of what activities can you do intentionally to go to the light side. So doing those, I did workshops with Yoga 6 for over a year, and that kind of elevated me a little bit to, ooh, more people. Okay, this is like, 20 people workshop. This is great. And then I went to a space. I was helping a girlfriend who was sick with cancer, and we went to a meditation space in Houston while she was at MD Anderson. And I was able to visually see meditation in a very doable space that didn't involve yoga. Yoga's great, but not everybody wants to do yoga to get to the meditation space.
Sure.
So it's kind of like a gym, but only for meditation. So it was memberships, it was drop-in, and it was aerial floating meditation. And what is that? Most people associate aerial yoga. So it's not yoga, but it's in a silk scarf where you're floating, doing meditation, guided meditation with sound bowl healing going on all around you. Like it's so immersive. It's so, that's my word for it. It's just,
Yeah.
So that's right.
Yeah.
Or we could say it's home.
Yeah.
So that experience in Houston made me see this was doable on this level where it wasn't just a workshop.
Like
it
partnering
wasn't
with something else.
Yeah, that like, oh, this is something people could do every day.
Mhm.
That really excited me.
Are there any spaces currently in Pinellas County that do something like that? No.
Not that I'm aware of, and I've searched for a lot of comps. Not only for comps, I love to be a receiver of any of these services.
Sure.
To me, it's never competition. It's community over competition. So let me be a receiver of your service and you can be a receiver of mine. How can we learn and grow from each other?
Mm-hmm.
So no, there's a lot of sound bowl here and there's a lot of separateness. You can get a lot of sound bowl healing at a lot of places in the Tampa Bay area, even in Pinellas County. Oftentimes it's a workshop where it might be once a month you'll see someone.
Right.
Or it might be tied in with yoga. But I think that's why it excited me is like, oh, there's such a need for this on a daily basis. I mean, who doesn't need that kind of restoration on a daily basis for 45 minutes where it's not like, okay, you're committed to a 2-hour workshop. You and I have a lot of children together. So okay, wait, not together, separately together.
Yeah.
So who has time for that? Who has time to just take out 2 hours every week to do that?
Yeah, sure. So talk to me about meditation. Like for someone who this is new to them, like they've never meditated before, like what is meditation on its like most basic level?
Well, that's also what excites me about this is because yes, I will give a lot of science-based research because I believe in that, but I want to keep it simple. Like to me, Anyone can meditate
Mm-hmm.
anytime, any place, anywhere. It is not a fragile state of mind. It is really just the essence of being highly focused and relaxed at the same time. To me, that is it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
You actually go in and out of, I'm gonna say the word trance, although some people might, ooh, I don't know about that word.
Yeah.
Being in and out of trance is a normal, natural state of being that you go in and out of on a daily basis. How many times you're driving and you're like,
Yeah.
when did I pass Drew Street? I
Mm-hmm.
don't even remember that happening. It's because you were hyper focused on something else and relaxed at the same time. Now, if something had gone right in front of you, you would have been able to snap back into it and avert your car from hitting anything.
Yeah.
So it's not this uncontrollable state. And that's, in hypnotherapy, that's people's fear, is that, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to be out
Lose
of
control.
control, when it's
Yeah.
like, it's actually a hyper state of control and relaxation.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I heard this, I guess like idea or way of explaining, right? It's kind of like two types of meditation, maybe, I guess,
Mhm.
and maybe you can talk more on this, but there's where you have, like, if you're running for exercise, right? Your mind is like low activity in that
Mhm.
exercise,
Yeah.
but your body is high activity, right? Your
Yeah.
body's moving. You're not really thinking about much at that time. And then when I think of meditation, it's like being still, sitting still, right? So your
Mhm.
mind is active,
Yeah.
but your body is still, right? So there's
Yeah.
benefits to both.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's so important that people understand what meditation can look like, because I do
Mm-hmm.
think there's this idea that it has to be silence, that
Mm-hmm.
your mind is completely quiet, that you're completely still. It has to look like all the pictures do,
Yeah,
right?
right, right.
And instead, no, you could meditate. That's why, and I love hearing the phrase that it's not a fragile state of mind. You can meditate with construction workers going on all around you. But you can still get really relaxed. And I think you might even be talking more about, like brainwave states, because there's different
Sure.
brainwave
Right,
states that
right.
give us different types of activities. And that's the fascinating part about the sound bowl healing. Because as a hypnotherapist, yeah, that's my goal, is to get somebody into a very relaxed state so that their subconscious mind is open and the critical mind isn't over criticizing some of the
Mm,
things. We're going to bypass that by getting you so relaxed. That can take some time, and some practice. Sound bowls, though, sound bowls with the vibration that they produce, they can take you into that deep state of delta,
yeah.
theta state of relaxation in a very short amount of time. It's like that sound almost instantly clears out chatter in the head. It's amazing.
So yes, tell me more about the sound bowl healing and how that works, and like what someone can do to I guess benefit themselves in that, using that.
Oh man, I think whether it's meditation, hypnotherapy, sound bowl healing, the wonderful thing about any one of those is that you can use them for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's somebody coming, like if it's therapeutically, one of my therapy clients coming to me saying, oh, who has issues, who has traumatic issues or has issues with self-esteem and self-love, we can, once we bypass that critical mind, then we sprinkle all the goodness of the language that we're going to use to help you
Mm,
with what you need. It's very prescriptive.
mm-hmm.
But even in a massive setting with maybe 20 to 30 people coming, you're going to get guided meditation that's full of positivity, which who doesn't need to hear that on a daily
Right,
basis,
right.
So you're going to get the language that you're meant to hear. I'm trained in neuro-linguistic programming,
Okay.
which most meditation hypnotherapy people are, which is the power of the words that we choose, because that is important. Um, so you get the power of the language that's being used. You get the power of the sound bowls, which is that deep state of relaxation. That's the purpose of the sound bowls. Yes, they sound nice, but there's different notes that are played for releasing, for relaxing. It's really a musical instrument that I think gets overlooked because they're bowls. Who thinks that that's a musical
Yeah,
instrument and that
yeah.
they have very specific notes? But it's quite fascinating, the healing powers of sound. I just told you I went to a concert last night, and it's such a reminder to me of like vibrational medicine, of the power of how good you feel when something resonates with you and the sound moving
Mm,
through your body. sound bowl healing vibrates through your body.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, we are made up of mostly liquid in our body. Like, I think the quote is like 70 to 80%
Yeah.
liquid.
Yeah.
So think about all of that being no one touching you, but all of that being vibrated throughout your body. Can you imagine all the healing that's going on within you? We know that sound is used in so many medical things, whether that's breaking up kidney stones,
Mm.
in cancer treatment, there's sound being used. So there's many purposes for sound. So to me, it's like this, like I said, this immersive experience of hearing in your conscious mind positive things that you want repeated, that's what you're coming to hear, but also the restoration that's taking place inside your body so that when you leave, gosh, you're going to be feeling hopefully energized and
Yeah.
relaxed
Yeah.
and ready to take on your day or ready to finish your day. It's something that I love to be a receiver of so much. And I know I was sharing with you before we started was sometimes you think like, well, I love this so much, but it does resonate, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody else is going to want
Yeah.
this too, right? And luckily I know that that's true because it's been this growing thing, I think, across the United States, probably in other countries too, just mindfulness, meditation, post-COVID, just that concentration on how can we get to feeling better and being better? How can we be
Yeah.
our best versions of ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think has been a big driver in that approach of like, I want to take care of me first before I can take care of other people? Because I think that's a big, I've seen and heard that a lot
Mhm.
recently where it's like there's been a focus on that, right? Like you have to take care of yourself. Like I got into real estate and I started reading books on personal development. And so that's always been kind of like a mindset of mine
Yeah.
as I've been growing my business is like, I have to take care of myself first. And, there's been ups and downs in that journey, but I've heard that a lot. So what do you think's changed in
Oh,
our society?
I think COVID, obviously COVID changed
Yeah.
everything on
Yeah.
so many levels. As a counselor, I get asked a lot, especially during COVID, because we were considered essential healthcare workers as licensed mental health counselors, so we never closed. And people would say, "Oh, I bet so many people are coming to you because of the stress of COVID." And maybe a small, maybe like 2% of my intake people would be that, but more importantly, so many people had time off from work or worked from home and finally had time to explore counseling. I don't know how many
Mhm.
new clients I would get that say, "I've always wanted to do this, but I've never had the time." So COVID, I think, as
Mm.
many things that came with it that were awful and negative and heartbreaking, so a lot of positive things came out of it too. And I think that is a huge one is people having the time to take care of themselves and the space to do it, especially since we didn't have to close down if we didn't choose to.
Mhm.
Plus also opening the availability to online counseling.
Oh, yeah.
That was a thing before, but it was really kind of frowned upon. Like, yes, we had the capability of doing it legally, ethically, but it didn't happen that often. And now that is the norm. And it's just the accessibility of
Mm.
people being able to get the help when they need it, when they want it. And I think that the COVID has just shifted in a lot of ways. I love that wave that's come out of COVID is the how do I take care of me so that I
Mhm.
can be the best version of myself?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how, like, something like that, like, just a slight little, twitch in our mindset or whatever completely changes and, like,
Yeah.
opens up this new possibility, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
this actually works."
Absolutely. And that's I think another thing that excites me about expanding my business to include the meditation studio is
Mhm.
that, like I said, I love all of my clients. I love how intense it gets one-on-one. But to be able to help more people at one time and people that might not want to go to counseling, depending on their background, their upbringing, if they've had a negative experience with counseling, to be able to still reach them on a therapeutic level
Mhm.
that isn't as intense, but can be equally powerful.
Mm.
Because to me, especially with guided meditation, I love both. I love the sound bowls because sometimes my mind I'm going to allow my mind to go where it needs to go without guidance.
Mhm.
And then the guided meditation is beautiful as well. For me personally, when I do meditation, I'm clearing out the noise because I am aligning with my highest version of me. For me, it's when I'm aligning with God. For other people, it might be the universe, it might be their highest self. But for me, it's when I can hear God talk to me
Mm-hmm.
of the answers that I need to hear. And that to me is the truest form of me. And that's the me that was meant to be put on this earth. And I get bogged down with the stress and worries of being a wife, a mother, a business owner, a friend, of all the things. So I feel like I just restore back to the core being of who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I hope that other people will get out of Om, of coming to Om, of the power that that can be of who you're meant to be. And that beautiful, I mean, and it's self-serving. I think I've said it to you before. It's a
Yeah.
ripple effect.
Right.
So I get to benefit from all the people in my community being their best versions of themselves. And it's
Yeah.
this beautiful ripple effect we give each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it's so hard to create that space for people just to like sit and think, and like something I've thought about recently is that, right? Is like there's so much with technology in our phones. Like it's so hard to put the phone down and just like be with your mind, right?
That's
What?
it right there, right? How often do you just sit and like, right, the temptation to have to be stimulated? And
Yeah.
honestly, it's the dopamine hits that
Right,
we're
right.
addicted to.
Yeah.
So it's whether it's looking at how many likes or just mindlessly scrolling, dopamine constantly getting through us. So it's like, how can I retrain my brain
Mm-hmm.
to be comfortable in the stillness? But in the stillness, and I don't mean silence, but in the stillness of quieting my mind is where the answers are, is where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
So right. It's kind of like that. Yes, in COVID, we've learned to take care of ourselves better, but also on the opposite end, all of social media and all of that presence has really increased so much.
Yeah. How does that affect us negatively? Like the dopamine hits, like having the technology,
It's so
like
addictive. It's
yeah.
so addictive, and people don't realize the science aspect of the dopamine hits and how your body craves it. And it's an exercise I give a lot of clients of just the exercise and self-control of like, all
Yeah.
right. And the goal might be like, you know what? I'm not talking major life shifts. It could be, all right, aim when you're driving, I check my phone during a stoplight.
Yeah. It's so
So
crazy.
my goal might be, okay, Amy, for today and tomorrow, you're not allowed to check your phone at stoplights or when you're in line at Publix or Target
Mm-hmm.
because I'm never present, right? If we're
Yeah.
always like, all right, I'm going to stand here. Oh, nope, I can't just stand here and look around at my
Yeah.
surroundings
That's
and
awkward.
make connections with people,
Yeah.
right? Let me just go inside myself and my phone. So it's those challenges, but I'm hoping that the more people that feel that safety, that comfort of being in themselves, of aligning with themselves, of meditating, of not having that dopamine, like you are actively, it's so empowering because you're making the choice to show up, to
Mm-hmm.
do the meditation. I was telling my clients, I am not the magic in the room, you are, because I have a skill set I'm very proud of and have worked really hard at, but you're the magic in the room. It's never me. I'm the facilitator. It's your choice to go there.
Yeah.
It's your choice to do the activities or challenge yourself outside of these four walls. So even with meditation, well on you for even showing up. You've
Mm-hmm.
already won the game by even doing something for yourself and showing up and trying something new and different, being brave enough to say, I don't know how many people, even with hypnotherapy, who say, it won't work on me. My mind is too busy. And of course, I'm
Mm.
like, oh, you're perfect
Yeah.
because it's actually about it's not about
Calming that
silence and
mind.
quieting it,
Yeah.
it's actually about focus. You sound really good at that. You
Yeah.
sound like you're focusing on a lot of things
Mm.
that's going to work to your advantage. So it's really just people. That's why I hope that this is a safe space that people can enter in for people who, it's going to be easy for people that love meditation. They're going to love Om.
Yeah.
But for
Right.
the newbies that are like, I've always wanted to do something more for myself, and this could be a really safe space to begin to explore your, meditation, mindfulness, with returning to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just try it out.
Yeah.
Right. Explore it.
Just try it. I always tell
Yeah.
people, just try it once.
Yeah.
Give yourself a limit. I'm
Yeah.
going to show up 2 times and see how I feel afterwards.
Yeah.
Just try it.
So, yeah, I could keep going on and on about that. Let's talk about the business a little bit and getting started. You're not quite opened up yet, but you're getting there.
Yeah.
What has that process been like? what are some challenges that you've had to overcome, maybe some fears that you've had to overcome
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people, when they think of starting a business, it's like, oh man, that's a big to do.
Yeah, it's been every end of the spectrum. Something that has really resonated with me, though, I read in a book by Elizabeth Gilbert. Her book is called Big Magic, and she talks about the creative process for artists, for writers and whatnot, and how when somebody writes a book, they just know it's going to be torturous and it's going to be awful, and you got to write. And she said, but why? Why does it have to be hard? Why can't it be lovely and enjoyable?
Mm,
That you go into something big, like, and so I really had that in my head when this was put on my heart to open the studio. Is I would just like, aim, your mantra has to be, but why does it have to be hard? What if it's lovely and wonderful?
mm,
Yes, of course, there's going to be hiccups and stressors like anything in life. But if I can go into this with the mindset of, but it's not going to be hard, it's actually going to be a lovely experience that will be challenging and teach me a lot of lessons, but it's not going to be hard. And so I've really tried hard to have that. I really try hard to practice what I preach,
yeah.
with my own mindset. But of course, I'm human. So when the challenges come up, I've never done anything on this level, never. And I've only rented small office spaces for my own private practice. It's been very easy and simplistic. So for me to rent out 3,000 square feet, that's like twice the size of my own house. Every now and then when somebody else will come in the space and go, oh my gosh, this place is huge. Suddenly I'll be like, oh my God,
Oh,
it
it
is.
is.
I
Yeah.
have 3 bathrooms. I only have 2 at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can be human and be overwhelmed by it. And I was overwhelmed this past week of just, I think, like any business owner, and not just business owner, any human can go back to, like, just feeling, oh gosh, I'm not sure if other people are going to like this as
Yeah.
much as I do. What if it is not successful? What if it does? I mean, and then I go back to, honestly, the meditation practice that I do is what helps keep me grounded. And I stopped doing it for a couple of weeks. I traveled. A dear friend of mine died just last week.
Mm,
And it's been so shifting that I've gotten out of my practice. And this week, I was so overwhelmed with so much emotion of like, oh, financial worries. Is it going to be successful? It's such a vulnerable place to, I'm not hiding behind another business. It's like,
right.
this is me,
Yeah.
Safety Harbor. And I've lived in Safety Harbor for 17 years.
Yeah.
I love it. I raised my children there. It's great. I know so many people there, but it's a different level of vulnerability, of rejection, of those darn Facebook pages,
Yeah. Yeah.
those group pages that you're like, oh gosh, I know that I'm going to be targeted one of these
Yeah.
days on one of these pages
Yeah.
of, but this week I went back to my guided meditation practice, and it all just went away,
Yeah.
where it was like, but aim, it's all going to work out.
Yeah. So I look at that and it's you're self-aware of like what's going on in your head and your
Yeah.
surroundings and that sort of stuff. Do you and like having that mindset going into that, like what are some practical tips for people who are doing something challenging in their lives to have that mindset in the
Yeah.
beginning, but also like keep it throughout, like when, like you said, like life is going to get hard, there are
Yeah.
going to be challenges you have to overcome, but does everybody have that self-awareness to be able to like, oh, okay, I need to go back and I need to meditate, I need to do my practices?
I'm going to take it back to 2 phrases that my clients are probably so sick of me saying because they're so effective.
Mm,
And it really has to do with just general anxiety. My 2 favorite phrases to use are, feelings are not facts, is my number 1 phrase, because we can easily convince ourselves that I'm feeling this way for a reason, and so therefore I should be feeling this
it's
way.
legitimate. Yeah.
I'm anxious. I'm feeling like this might not be successful. I'm feeling nervous about money. My past money issues are coming up, and I'm feeling, oh, I'm not worthy of having something this big and being this successful. But that's not true. And so my challenge always is, feelings are not facts. So understanding that just because I'm feeling a certain way, I should be, that's right. So that's not true that I should be feeling that way. So the way to challenge it for me is to ask, where's the evidence to support the fact that I should be feeling this way?
Mm,
Because there's a difference between me being human and my mind going wild with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going down rabbit holes of
Worst
worry
case
and
scenario.
stress,
Yeah.
But when I can literally stop and go, Amy, where's the evidence to support the fact that this business will not be successful? All falls away.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, actually, I have a lot of evidence to the contrary
Yeah.
because I didn't just, make this up. I obviously have a business plan and did much research and planning but that's where the anxiety falls away. So I think for anybody in any facet of life, it's always checking your feelings, because just because you're feeling that way doesn't mean that you should be feeling that way. So don't go on that, what's my gut feeling? Okay, check your gut though. It's okay, check it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're right. So if you check it and you find evidence, okay. Evidence to me is action though. So if I'm feeling like, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm worthy to open up this business. Well, let me check this. Amy, do you have any evidence of worthiness where you shouldn't? No, because I've worked really hard. I have several degrees. I have a lot of training. Okay, that falls away. But if it's a money issue, maybe there was something financially going on that I needed to take care of. And I'm feeling like, oh gosh, I don't know if this is going to work out. Amy, where's the evidence to support this feeling that it might not work out financially? Well, because I have this going on over here. Oh, what action can you take with that?
Mm-hmm.
So in challenging the thought, it doesn't just leave it in like, never land. It's either falls away because I have no evidence to support it, or now I know what action I need to take of like, okay, Aim, you were anxious because you didn't want to take the action. Got it.
Love that.
Yeah. So to me, those are the two easy phrases. Yeah.
Do you think everybody has that ability to critically think about like their own thoughts and like be self-aware
If they want to.
If they want to, yeah.
If they want to. Same thing with counseling. Of course, I've had every counselor's had a client in the past that wants to come and vent and complain. And even when you know that like they don't want to be self-aware, they're married to the narrative, which is causing them pain. And honestly, it's heartbreaking to witness somebody do that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes some people don't want to make the changes.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I'm not judging them. There's something going on that hasn't shifted, that hasn't healed yet. Okay. But you have to want it. You have to want to have an awareness to have an awareness, not just, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anybody who wants to have that awareness, who wants to be better, absolutely. Anybody can change their thoughts.
Yeah. So I want to ask you this final question about daily habits. So that's something I've like in the personal development journey that I've been on, like, having a daily set of habits to kind of set you up for success or whatever.
Yeah.
That's been a constant tweaking of, to find out what works for me. And, you read all the books and it's like, oh, here's the 6 habits that you must do.
Yeah.
And
so much pressure.
Yeah. And then I've realized that, some of them work better for me than others. I don't need to do all 6 of them or whatever it is. So in your mind, what are some positive habits that people can do on a daily basis to get them in the right frame of mind to handle the day's challenges and handle that day?
I like a variety. I'm a Gemini, so I like change, and I like a variety of techniques and strategies. And I think I love hearing what you're saying though, is honoring who you are. And if something works one day for you, great. If you want to have another strategy for another day, it's not feeling like it has to look a certain way. Like, like reading the books and God help us all. We've got great mini therapists on TikTok and on Instagram. And a lot of it is really great stuff. Like it's reaching so many people and it's really good stuff. But just honoring who you are and what works for you, knowing that it doesn't have to look exactly like it does for somebody else. I tell my clients all the time, I'm going to give you several strategies for you to try this week. And you pick what works for you, because what works for me might not work for you and vice versa. But first and foremost, it's the positive thoughts. It's anchoring your thoughts someplace positive. I love a good mantra and affirmation. It could be anything. I love language, but I get sick of my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to Google, Pinterest affirmations and mantras, because it'll light me up with like, ooh, I like that combination of words. That lights me up.
Yeah.
So I love because when I can get stressed or overwhelmed, if I have an anchor to take it back to, and that is going to be like, whew, I got it. I don't have to think.
Mm.
Because then it'll give time for my anxiety to take me down and go down a
Mm-hmm.
rabbit hole and be like, nope, expect good things, Amy, expect good things, you know? So having mantras as affirmations, um, and just knowing that there's an exercise I like to do with clients where I have them look around the room and I will tell them you have 30 seconds to count as many blue things as you can. So count as many blue things, and I give them 30 seconds. They look around the room, they count. And when they're done, I say, how many green things did you find? And they think I've misspoke. And they said, oh, no, you said blue. And I
Yeah.
said, I know, but how many green things? And they say, well, you didn't tell me to find the green things.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, I didn't. How many? Do you see green things in the room? Well, yeah, there's a lot. And my point is, and I love this analogy though, is that there are opportunities all around us, but when we're hyper focused on the blue,
Mm-hmm.
we miss that there's so many different things out
Mm.
there. So just keeping activities like that in mind of there's paths around me that are waiting to be illuminated if I look for them. So it's always having that positive mindset. And I'll end with one more activity that I love for clients to do, and that's daydream. And I will, I don't know, we kind of forget to do that because
Yeah.
we're on our freaking phone so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
right? So it's literally choosing a positive thought. To me, it's almost like self-meditating. No, self-hypnosis is really what that is. It's really choosing, like, what if I choose to think that I want an all expense paid vacation, and I can take two friends, sorry, hubby, taking two friends, and I have to explore all the five senses. And I can only think positively about this. And the five senses are really important because then it really sticks in my subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't actually evaluate if something's happening or not. So for me, if I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in Spain and there are dancers around us and we're drinking sangria and I can hear the music and we're, like I am fully there. I'm tasting the tapas. I'm tasting the sangria, I hear the music, I hear the laughter of my friends. Like I can experience all of that. And if I really focus on all the details for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, I literally guarantee you that later that week, I will reach out to one of those friends. I will drink sangria possibly, or eat tapas, or do something that I immersed myself in for that 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my clients, don't just think about it for 2 minutes. When you're done, I want you to honor yourself and say, look what I did. Look what I did with my thoughts. I chose where they went for 2 minutes. So if I can choose where they went for 2 minutes, what else can I do with my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
take your mind anywhere, 2 minutes a day, someplace fabulous. 5 people for dinner, who would they be? Celebrities, who would they be? Mentors, who would they be? Just any place fabulous. Your
Yeah.
mind is powerful.
And it could be the same thing over and over again, right? To
Yes.
just like reiterate, like,
I'm gonna
this is
travel
what I
the
want,
world.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but and along with the mantras. So to me,
Yeah.
and this probably goes back to my teaching days, as many learning modalities as you can hit, it's going to solidify in your core, in your mind. So if it's auditory,
Yeah. Right.
visual, tactile, as many learning modalities as you can hit. So being able to say, and that's why saying mantras out loud, even if it's just you in the
Sure.
car,
Sure.
I recommend not just hearing it, writing it down, putting it in places in your house, saying it out loud. Look at yourself in the mirror. So you've got the visual, you've got the auditory. If you're touching your heart, you got the kinesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So layering on those learning modalities with all the positive stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Very good stuff. Well, Amy, this has been a bunch of fun
Mhm.
and super valuable, I think, for a lot of people listening. For your practice, like where can people find you? Where can people follow you on socials?
Thank you. So I am in the heart of downtown Safety Harbor. I love Safety Harbor so much. So I'm at 550 Main Street,
Okay.
downtown Safety Harbor, Om Meditation and Wellness. We are on Instagram and Facebook. We will not only be offering the studio space for guided meditations, we'll be doing meditations about 4 times a day. I also have my counseling practice there. We also offer workshops about twice a month with tapping, with intention setting, candle making, fire ceremonies, all kinds of, I just want to reach as many people as possible. Like however people can feel safe in one space to
Mhm.
heal and explore themselves. That's my hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
Thanks.